Yes, hello everyone. This is Jen Selmaga and I'm so excited. I'm so overwhelmed that we are back here on the Jen Selmaga show with the untold stories of diaspora. I'm telling you, you're gonna love this one. You're gonna love because you'll be inspired, you're gonna be motivated, you're gonna be encouraged. So all you need to do is to get a comfortable seat, somewhere relax, and let us have fun together. Welcome everyone. This is Jen Selmaga once again. I'm so excited. I'm telling you, you're gonna love this story from a young man who is an inspiration in this state of Massachusetts and the entire globe actually. He's an inspiration. I'm so excited to have him on the show. We are here seated in if you're in Massachusetts, if you get a chance to come in Massachusetts, we are seated in what they call Mumiti. If you're from Uganda, Miti means forest. So it's a place, a beautiful place in a town called, in a
Waltham.
City.
Yeah, city of Waltham.
Of Waltham. And Waltham is a city for Ugandans. It's called Kampala.
Little Kampala.
Little Kampala, right?
Yeah.
So we are here with my friend Jordan. He's gonna be introducing himself very well, but I'm telling you, I'm already intrigued to hear his story. So welcome, Jordan.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited.
I'm happy to be here.
Jordan he's a good man. I love him, and he's going to tell more about himself because I don't know, I just feel so excited to have him. Jordan, can you please introduce yourself more?
My name is Jordan Sekatawa. I am, my profession, I'm a filmmaker. I'm also a media and tech coach. I live here in Waltham, Massachusetts with my wife and son.
Yes, he's married. He's already taken.
Married, yes.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
But this young man, I'm telling you, you know how the Bible says, for those of you who are Bible readers, the Bible says in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4 verses 12 that do not let anyone despise thy youth, but be thou an example in whatever you do, in your speech, in your conduct, in the way you do your things. So this young man has really followed that scripture so well. And I really am proud of you, Jordan.
Thank
you are such an inspiration.
Thank you.
And we really want to know, because you are not born in America.
No, I was not born here.
Yes, so we want to know your story. Your journey. Yeah.
Okay, so I was born in Uganda, St. Francis Hospital in Zambia, also known as Zambia.
Okay.
I don't even know. I don't know where I was born. My mom says I wasn't there. So my mom says I was born there, and at that time we used to live in Chibuli. But do you want to know, like, when I came to the US?
When you, yes.
Okay, so I was born in Uganda, and then I came to the US when I was 16.
Okay.
I came here to live with my dad. My dad had been here 20 years prior.
Okay.
So I moved here with my brother. So, you know, we're two of us. With my brother and then my three sisters that were already living here.
Okay.
And that's how life
That's how you end up here.
That's how I ended up
So
here.
when you come here, you're 16, you're a teenager already.
Yeah.
How was life? Were you challenged?
So the funny thing is, I would say 10 minutes from here is the place that I was living.
Okay.
It was very challenging because, first of all, coming from Uganda as a young person, there was no internet back then. So you couldn't Google. Now, you know, before you move to Sweden, you can Google your address and you can see what it looks like. You can even learn the phrases. For us, we knew nothing.
Nothing.
We showed up. We didn't even know there were trees in America. We thought everything. We thought it was like heaven.
Heaven.
And then when the lady that picked us up from the airport,
I'm telling you, I'm cutting you off a little because there's this guy, we're talking on phone, it was a video, I put him on video, and he was like, Jen, you guys have trees there. Yes,
Most
there are
people,
trees
yeah,
here.
Yeah, there
Yes.
are trees. So when and I saw what it looked like, and I was like, okay, maybe we're driving through some place. We'll eventually get to America. But no, this was it, and it looked just like when this exact park that we're sitting. We used to come here when I was younger, and this is what America looked like. So that was challenging to get to know America the way it is, which is beautiful. Of course, I love nature.
Yes.
But that's not what I thought. But obviously, at that point, I was in high school. So that it's so challenging because I think most African parents don't even understand.
Yes.
You know, when you bring a child from Uganda and you bring him here, you know, we think we speak English in Uganda until you come here.
Until you come here.
And the kids are talking to you, and the first word you learn is pardon.
Yes.
Pardon, and then you're so uncomfortable because you don't understand a lot of things.
Yes.
And there were Ugandans, because there's a lot of Ugandans in Waltham, but our struggles were all the same. So some of these kids were a lot smarter than me, but when I learned the culture, I would perform better than they're performing, just because it was it was the language and the conduct. When we showed up first days of school, we were wearing sneakers and ironing our shirts.
Yes,
and
doing so neat.
So we think we are being neat, but the kids think we are being weird. So
can you imagine that?
We stopped doing that. We started started wearing hats and t-shirts, and then the more you blend in, the more life becomes easier
for you.
In high school, it's really not a time to stand out, because kids may not bully you necessarily, but the way they look at you, they see that you're different, and that's not what you want in high school. You want to blend in, so you enjoy the experience.
So how was your experience at home? Because now, mom and dad, I'm expecting, they should expect this young man who has been ironing to keep ironing. And then when you iron at school, it's like, it's weird.
So it's funny thing is, by the time we came, I have 3 sisters here, but they were much younger, so they were not in high school yet at that point. So we were the one first introducing them to high school. So they had been here prior, but it's like a parent that has a little baby who didn't grow up here. Everything the child goes through, the parents start to experience it when the child gets there. So they didn't know anything about high school. So we introduced whatever we wanted to tell them is what if we wanted to stay late at school, we just say we have an extra class and not even go to school, maybe go somewhere else. So we didn't do that a lot, but I know that they had to accept, because we would tell them, this is not what you do in high school. You don't wear a shirt and like you're going to church. You're more relaxed, because in Uganda we have uniforms. In the US, we were like, you can wear whatever you want. So no uniforms. So we didn't have to, because we used to wear those white shirts. We're like, you don't have to do that. As time went on, they started to understand, how the culture is, and they started to accept it.
That's wonderful. We thank parents who get to learn more about it. I think we need that as parents, as immigrants, to try and understand our children.
Let me just say something on that fact. The hardest thing that causes misunderstandings with families, especially immigrant families, is parents' failure to understand the place that they live in. Because kids nowadays, once they're like 15, they're not kids. So they have their own opinions, and it's possible for you to live together with everybody getting what they want, but I think many African parents don't have the time to understand what kids are going through, because most of these parents unfortunately find out their kids are smoking weed, and I'm like, everybody knows these kids smoke weed. Like, everybody knows that. It's not new to them. This is something that they hear about in school. They see drugs in school. So you, the parent, might be clueless, but your kids, are aware about. They know about drugs. They know about sex. They know about all the parties. So because you, as a Christian parent, have created an area where you don't want to know about it, it doesn't mean your kids will never know about it. They will know about it, and the worst thing is for them to introduce it to you. Because you always want to, as a parent, you want to be ahead. You want to have the first conversation. But African parents, it's like a taboo. Some things you don't talk about.
We don't talk about.
But I think that is hurting many families.
Many families. I hope some parent out there, you are tuned in here just like I just did, and we are learning something from these young people we bring with us in diaspora.
Yeah.
So now tell me, you're already, you're a married man.
I am at this point, yeah.
How did you get up one day and you say, you know what? Jordan, who has not been ironing, is now being focused. He wants to
that's
go.
that's many years later, many lessons later, because I moved here when I was 16. That's in 2009.
Yeah.
February 4th, 2009. I got married July 26, 2019. So that's 10 years. 10
years later.
And obviously, you know, that 10 years there was lessons and things that I went through. But I don't think it was not one day I was like, let me get married. I just, you know, I started dating like everybody else. And, you know, the idea of marriage obviously is always there, but you let things lead each other. So it just ended up leading into marriage. So I never went out to find a wife. It just so happened that way.
Great. How is she doing?
She's good.
And a baby?
Good.
You have a son?
Yeah,
that's so beautiful.
And one on the way.
And one on the way. Yeah. Wow, that's so beautiful. Yes. Now, Jordan, I want you to tell us about the education system, because you are now self-employed.
Yes.
Many people feel like when they come, it has to be, you know, you have to get somewhere to work. And kubache, as some people say in our culture, but you are a self-employed guy. Yes. You're doing so well. How have you found it? Has it been challenging to you? What a journey it is? Tell us more.
So I think, you know, the fact that I came to the US when I was younger is a great advantage.
Yes.
Okay, because although high school was sort of brutal, it helped me understand, you know, the culture that I'm in, you know, and understanding what confidence. You know, this country is for those that are confident. You can see by our previous president.
Yes.
The ability to do it is not as great as the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
So many times in high school, you would see kids that are not smart, but they'll be passing because when it's time to answer a question, they put up their hands.
Oh, yes.
They say the dumbest thing.
Yes.
And the teacher's like, yes. You get 5 points for participation.
For just raising your hand.
Just raising your hand. And you know everything, but you're shy. You're still putting your hands down. You don't get that mark. That's the same thing with life.
Yes.
There are many people that know a lot of things. They have great experiences. They are older. They have done all these things, but they work a 9 to 5. They work muchipakasi, and they're there sitting down. And then there's like people like me who is, I know a little bit and I continue learning, but at least I can stand and say, I know this. And that's the thing that America can teach you.
Yes.
You know, being confident.
Be confident, yeah.
Because you will learn as time goes on, but you can't wait to know everything.
Until
you have to start. So for me, I didn't go to college right away because the nature of my parents just couldn't afford it. And I was young, I couldn't sign out my own loans. So I didn't go to college when everybody else went. So I focused so much on working, you know. Around here at Waltham, I worked at restaurants, washing dishes and all, you know, doing all that, just odd jobs. But I wanted to understand just how to work.
Yes.
Because also that's another thing that you have to understand, because in America you have to work. Whatever you do, whether you're self-employed,
yes,
you need the discipline to go and work.
To go and work, yeah.
Which, you know, over time you gain that. But, you know, after I turned 24, I was able to sign my own loan, so I went back to college and I started business. Because at that point I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in business.
Yes.
So I started business and I graduated, and then I worked at a job for 5 years, and after that job is when I was like, I gotta go do my own thing. That's how I started being self-employed.
So you started. So is this a passion? You're a filmmaker. So was that a passion, or is it something you felt like, I could make some money out of this, or is it really passion?
So, I guess you can say passion, but for me, I don't really know when people say passion what they mean, because the desire to do it. So I feel like in me there's an artist, okay? Because I've always a maker. I've always been making things.
Okay.
And when I was in Uganda, I didn't have the ability to have we had a computer, but I didn't have a camera. So I didn't know about how movies are made. So until I was 17, when I moved here, it's when okay, this is a camera. This is how it works. So I guess you could say the passion developed.
It was already in you.
To create. So because I always say, if I had stayed in Uganda, I'll probably be like a carpenter or something, you know, using the tools that I have. But the US gave me the camera, the access to have a camera. Yeah. So that's when I started. And here in high school, on senior year, you choose how many classes you want to put towards a certain subject. So I think you can pick up to 12. And I think I spent 8 of them in the TV production class. So for me, anything I could drop, I dropped it, so I can focus on camera. So, you know, calculus, all that stuff, I have no idea. So I dedicated all my time, TV, and actually I did so well that after I graduated, the Waltham TV station put me on their team. So I was there for, I think, for 1 summer.
Okay,
yeah, at the TV station, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. So how is your filmmaking going?
Oh, so it's good. So I actually have 2 documentaries I've done. I try to do one every year, you know, but mostly for work, to make money, I do wedding films. That's, you know, that's where I make most of my money, because this is all I do. So I spend most time in the summer, in this season, during April to, I'd say, like October. Okay. That's usually where most weddings are at that time. Okay. So I do weddings, and then for the past 2 years, November, December, and January, I've been going to Uganda to work on films and my film studio and like other projects. Okay. But it's been good. It's been great. Okay. Yeah.
So what advice would you really give to a young person out there? Maybe he just came in a month ago. He's in the States, so he's in Europe somewhere, and he's stuck. Okay. What would you advise?
This advice, I would say, if you move into a foreign country, the most important thing is culture. Education is important, but understand culture, because culture will get you opportunities way before education kicks in. And what I mean by culture is, most people, you know, that you see that are natives here in America, they got all the money in the world. Most people, you know, like especially in Massachusetts, I think I read there's over 500 something millionaires in Massachusetts. So the opportunities are there. There's so many scholarships. There's so many people, there's so many funds that are willing to give money to people. But you first have to understand that, you know, in America you have to be confident. And you have to say what you know. In Uganda we don't say that. Like when you do something good, you wait for people to praise you. Americans, they say, I did this, I had this challenge, and I overcame it. For us, we feel like, oh, you know, you're bragging, you have to be humble, don't toot your own horn. But nobody ever gets to know you. You know, you watch the news, you know, a political person does one speech, they get 5,000 views, they will talk about that for a whole year. You know, so it's because the nature of this country is for people to know that you can do the job. So if you have a success, you know, if you've ever worked in corporate America, they have those meetings every Friday where people just talk about what they did, how successful they were. So if you're a young person that just moved, you know, to these Western countries, identify what you can do, and then locate people that do that thing. And tell them, back in my country, I was the best at this. And then once they see that you can back up what you're saying, they're gonna want you on board. And then those people might even help you with school. So identifying what you can do. If you came from Uganda and you were a carpenter, go to a carpentry shop. Go somewhere where you know that the people you need to move you forward. You know, if you were a nurse, if you did nursing, go to a school and find the higher people at the school and talk to them about what you did. Because, you know, people come from Uganda having delivered like 50 kids, but they come here and then they have to start again. They have to go back to LPN because they have not put together their story. They cannot express how much they did. But before you go to school, because if you go to the school, they'll just tell you, oh, where's your certificate? They'll look at it, they are like, this
Verify
is
everything.
Yeah, they'll be like, this is equivalent to an LPN, but you were delivering kids.
Yeah,
so you
had experience.
Yeah, you had experience.
10 years.
So put together your papers and write your story, put in an essay, and share it and tell people that, you know, this is what I can do. You will, it's very, for a college, they have the ability to give you a test,
yes,
and give you a higher determination,
yes,
based on what you've said, you know. And
yes.
so it's not, yeah, so you have to speak up, and you have to say what you do. That's the biggest thing. Say that you know how to do this, and do it with confidence.
Show you can do it.
Show you can do it. I think that would be the biggest advice.
That's the, okay.
And also, learn the language.
Learn the language.
Learn the language, and
yes,
learn to speak confidently. Africans, we have an issue where when it's time to speak, we shy back.
Yeah.
We are laid back. We don't feel like our English is good. Speak your best confident voice, even with your accent.
I usually say that the accent doesn't determine how intelligent you are.
It doesn't.
No, just speak the way you can speak.
Just speak,
and,
yeah.
I mean, keep going.
So with the issue with the accent and why people think accent is bad, because you are not comfortable with your accent. You're not comfortable with your voice. Arnold Schwarzenegger, you can hear how he speaks. He was a senator in California.
Yes, senator, yeah.
So it's not the accent, but he never questions the way he speaks.
Yes.
That's how he speaks.
Yes.
So the way that you speak, understand it and accept it. And this is how I speak, and then give content, because people will look over your accent if you have content to deliver.
Yeah.
But if you sit back and you're shy, you already have an accent. So the only minute you talk, nobody understands you because they're not used to how you speak.
Yes.
But if you speak enough with your accent, people will accept you.
They will.
And it will not be an issue anymore.
Yeah, I told someone, because this friend of mine was having a discussion in school, and he was like, I can't. Because she had everything, she had all the content, but she couldn't because of the accent. I said that doesn't determine anything. You can speak and they'll get you. Everyone will understand you. So, well, that's so beautiful that I believe some young person out there, not even only the young people, anyone who is just joining the diaspora.
Let me just say this. The young people can figure out this stuff. It's usually the older people that have trouble.
So you mean it's us?
Yeah. No, because here's what happens. You see this nowadays with these phones.
Yes.
Young people know how to use. Most young people I find that if they need something, they know how to manipulate Google to get the answers.
No.
It's because my mom moved here in 2018. I find that it's the older people that, because remember, they're already grown. It's easier to bend a young tree into a direction than one that's been here for 50 years.
Yeah.
So these things, it's easier for young people to adapt to the language. It's easier for young people to just understand what's going on.
But again, also to the young people, you know why they end up, most of the young ones, going into drugs and all that? Because
excitement.
And they are trying to fit in. That thing of trying to fit in also is an issue, because you don't have to fit in anything.
Yes, exactly.
So you get that low self-esteem in you, and more, of course, maybe your accent and all that, and you think those people are better than you. You end up in a wrong group of peers.
True, and I think that's a big issue, because obviously, I've been here for 10 years, so I've seen many young people get arrested, get deported. Because America can offer you anything. If you want to spend all your life with drugs, sex, it's all available.
Yes.
And I see that young people that obviously come from Uganda, most people I could say that come from Uganda grew up in families that are not well off. So when they come here and they're like, well, I can get a credit card and I can buy all the shoes I want. I can go out and get a new car without paying anything. They do everything. And in some extent, I'm guilty of that as well, because you come in like, okay, I can get anything I want. So that's it's a trap, and that's why most people actually, even if they at this point, most people, even if they wanted to be their own bosses, do their own bosses, they can't because of the decisions they made. Because if 2 years ago someone went out and took out a new Mercedes-Benz that cost $80,000, now they can't they can't leave the job.
Oh,
now they have to stay at the job. If they took out a lease on an apartment that's $2,500, now they have to stay. So most people can't, this is a challenge that I think people that are coming from Africa need to understand.
Yes.
In America, everything is an illusion. Just because you see someone, wearing $600 pairs of shoes and driving a nice car, living in a nice apartment, that doesn't mean they have money. It means they made bad decisions. so unless someone went to the bank and handed them $80,000, and bought a Mercedes Benz, that's not, you shouldn't look at someone saying, oh, I want to be like that person.
I've heard of people telling me stories whereby there are some friends who go, like if it's a party somewhere, they go and get a new car for that particular party. Can you imagine that? And then all that will get on you one time.
Yeah, and eventually as a young person, because you're trying to experience life, you're trying to have a good time, so those things can happen, especially if the people that should give you guidance are also in the same mess. So if you show up and say your parent also has a Mercedes Benz that they're paying off, it will be really hard for them to convince you not to do the same thing. So so I think it's best to do the research. Like I said, you can do the research. Everything that we talk about, you can look it up and understand. Oh, okay, I'm coming to the US. There's something called credit. This is how I manage that. If I don't know, if you don't know what it is, go watch a YouTube video. There's someone explaining about everything. So I feel like that's where now there's the advantage to do that. If you want to go to school, you can find out schools that are in Massachusetts. You can look it up, and I feel like now you can do more homework.
I think we just need to be more willing to, as you're saying, research. Do something for yourself. Sometimes we are laid back, and you want everything to be done by someone. And sometimes the people you want to do things for, you won't be willing to do
They're not even interested. They're doing their own thing.
They're doing their own thing. And you're, I asked so and so, maybe I'm waiting to tell me if the schools will take me and all that. Go do it yourself.
So this is because that's the nature of Uganda. If you're going to school, if you need an application, there's always a guy that you can call and they get you the application. If you need to go get a passport, there's a guy that you can call that can help you, get the passport. But then when you come to a country like the US, if even the mayor, if they needed to get a new passport, they go through the same process. So there's not cutting corners. And I think in Africa, we're just so used to cutting corners. So when we see that things are so straight, the rules are so strict, it bothers us because we want the, we think,
the shortcuts.
The shortcuts, which they don't work here. They never have.
Those shortcuts don't work in diaspora, especially here in America, where, and Europe. I don't know other places.
I think it's worse in Europe.
No shortcuts. So when you're living, coming to diaspora, you just had us on the Untold story. No shortcuts. Be willing to do it yourself. You've just seen a young man here. He's doing so well in his own self. He's a self-employed person. He's doing so well, and he has done it all by himself. By the grace of God, of course.
And the help of my wife.
Some person told me, where that saying where people these days are saying I'm self-made, and then someone says it's a lie. It's God-made. But I believe that you can be self-made by the grace of God, because even God is not gonna find you just seated like that. He needs someone willing to do something, and he's gonna help you. So I think I can't stop, but we have to.
Before you stop, let me you just touched upon that, because I think here, and I don't mean to offend any Christians, because I'm Christian as well, but I think we were raised in a way of expecting something to happen. And things just don't happen. Nothing happens. Nothing, and we think God is there just throwing, choosing who to miracles. And one time, let me tell you a little story. I was actually gonna record this story, but let me say it here. So one time when I was working my 9 to 5, you know about UNA, the conference, the Ugandan conference. So this story is to show you how you can take up an opportunity. And then I was working my 9 to 5 hours in the office in Cambridge, just going through social media on my phone, and I saw that the UNA conference was coming up, you know, the next week, and it was in Florida. Now, in my younger years, I used to go to Florida a lot, in Miami, and then I see it and I connected. I'm like, there's gonna be a lot of Ugandans that are going to Florida, and if they are vendors or small businesses that are going to sell stuff in Florida, I could bring that stuff to Florida for them.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did is I called the airlines. Oh my God, the rates were so expensive. I think for one of the ladies, she was going to pay like $650.
Wow.
So I got the idea. I was like, I'm gonna try drive these things to Florida. And so I called my wife and I told her, this is my idea. And she was like, let's do it. So I have a graphic designer who has sent the information. 10 minutes after I put out the flyer, I was getting calls. You see? So long story short, I picked up the opportunity because life will always present an opportunity and a chance to have an adventure. Yes. There's gonna be loss. There's a very high chance of losing. Yes. That's also business. You can lose money.
You can.
So
but without risks, then how can you?
No reward. So I picked it up. I went to Enterprise. By that time, I didn't have a van. I went to Enterprise. I told them, give me your biggest van. And they told me it's gonna be $900. So I paid $900. Without having any reservations.
Yes.
Nobody had booked, but I was so confident this was gonna work. And then, you know, I got calls and I was taking cash up. By the time, by the following, it was like Thursday. No, it was Wednesday the following week because I wanted to set off Wednesday in the morning. I'd already got enough money to pay for the car rental and the gas to go and come back.
You see?
So we went to Miami, delivered the stuff at the hotel, and everybody was happy. But when it was time to come back, there were more people that wanted us to bring their stuff. So I went to Enterprise, told them, listen, here's your van, give me something bigger. They gave me the biggest van. While we were packing the things, 3 guys showed up. They couldn't afford a ticket back to Boston because I think the ticket was like $220. I told them I'll take you for $150. So I put them in the van. So when we came back here, in that like 4, I think I would say like 4 days, 4 to 5 days. Yeah. That's the best money I've ever made. After paying the hotel, the gas, the food, I came back with $1,450. And like that's an example of where no school required. Yes. I didn't have to be very smart. Yes. It's just missing an opportunity. Yes, and grabbing it. And willing to do it. You know. And I think for most people, life does that. You know, you are your job and you hear about this promotion. Of course, the first thing you're going to say, I am not qualified. And that's the end of that conversation. You keep doing your thing. Yeah. Or you're can say, waiting on God. Or I'm waiting on a sign. Or you can say, let me just go. Let me go do it. And if you go there and you fail, you wait for another opportunity. But I usually tell a story in the Bible where these 3 lepers, were they 3 or 4, they are seated and they're like, you know what? If we sit here, we're gonna die. If we go in the camp of our enemies, we'll still die. Let's go. And the Bible says that as they started walking, God made their feet to sound like a big army. Yeah. And then they went and conquered and got everything they wanted in that camp of their enemies. So, my dear friends, God is going to help you when you are willing to be helped. Yes. We can't stop, we can't keep going on, but this was a beautiful time. We are on the show, talking about the untold stories of the diaspora, people in the diaspora. And today we had Jordan Sekatawa, a young man who came from Uganda at 16 years old, and he's been able to make it in the United States of America. I love you so much, and thank you so much, Jordan, for coming. Thank you. I didn't tell them where they can find me. If you want to find him, facebook.com/jordan.sekatawa or www.jordansekatawa.com. Please find him. He's on Instagram. He's a great guy. He's gonna do you well when it comes to filmmaking or your weddings. That's if you're within Massachusetts, and he can come wherever you want. He can travel wherever you want him to come. May God bless you, and stay tuned on the Jane Somaga Show.